Hey everybody, it's your girl Sherry. Welcome back to Alleged Actually podcast. Today is Wednesday, so we're going to get down with 90 Day Fiance the other way. I am joined by my guest host, Big Nige of Goat Cast Podcast. How you doing, Big Nige?
Doing well. We got a lot to unpack, so I'm ready to get into it.
I concur. So, guys, for some of you that are maybe new over here, we do reality TV recaps, pop culture, and I get into some riveting interviews. Like I said, today is Wednesday, so we're going to be talking about 90 Day Fiance the other way. Go ahead as you join us in the chat, give us the thumbs up, hit that like button, and if you haven't yet, I don't know what you're waiting on, go ahead and subscribe and share with the masses. All right, Big Nige. So, we're doing a little catch up here. We're going to hit each one of the couples and kind of talk about where they're at and what we're feeling about what's going on with each couple. We're going to do like a light recap of episodes 5 through 7. As you guys know, on Monday night, episode 7 aired. And so we're going to get started with Lily and Josh. Big Nige, what were your thoughts on them?
Yeah, so Lily and Josh, probably the least amount of recapping to do for them. Not too much happened. Um, they did start with their little massage. That was one of her. We're getting to learn a little bit more about Lily and how she likes to relax. So she had a head massage and she signed Josh up for a ear massage. Thought that was pretty interesting. Don't know how relaxing that would be, but I mean, if you got a lot of earwax, I guess it could be relaxing. They were kind of like picking at it, and they brought these feathers, and it was an interesting experience. I'm not going to downplay it because it did look somewhat relaxing, but each their own, I guess.
All right.
Um, and then not too much to unpack there. Just a new experience for the both of them. Then we get to see one of her other pastimes, which is badminton, which is popular in China. I didn't know that, so that was good to know. Um, and we get to see some of the guys that Lily has been playing with, and some of the guys that Josh was kind of weary of. In a long distance relationship, she's playing badminton with other people, other guys, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and Josh kind of started showing a little bit of his insecurities there when he would ask to like maybe video chat while she's playing. And obviously, if you're playing a hobby of that magnitude, you ain't really trying to videotape yourself.
Nope.
Like, you're just having fun, having a good time, just relaxing, as she says. And so to Josh, that kind of sounded like, oh, I'm being left unread. I'm maybe not being appreciated. And that kind of posed the question that he had, where he was saying, maybe you love me, but you're not in love with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that obviously hurt Lily's feelings. And they had a conversation about that. And basically she's saying you don't need to be doing that. You don't need to be saying that because that really hurts me.
Yeah.
So again, more miscommunication is what it's showing up for these two. Maybe he didn't mean it as deeply as she took it. Maybe he did, and maybe it was just a moment of weakness. Being a long distance couple, I know everything is heightened. A
Yeah.
missed call here, a missed text here, and next thing you know, now you're second guessing the entire relationship just
Oh,
because
yeah.
you don't have that face to face time that you would if you were together. Um, so outside of that, not too much else to unpack. They had a little bit more conversations about the money situation, and again, he says it's one thing, she says the other. So
Mm-hmm.
they need more time together to finally get some of these issues resolved, so they can be happy ever after.
Correct. I agree. I concur with all you had to say, Big Nige. I did want to say, I do think, when we talk about their issues being communication, I also find that some of it is also translation of communication. I really think they're struggling with the language barrier and Lily's translation of what he's saying. For her, she was thinking that he meant like fake love, like her love wasn't real. And, that's what caused her to feel hurt because Lord knows she has gone above and beyond to prepare for his arrival and to show this man that she's left no detail unturned. I mean, she's got it all planned out for him. So, in all honesty, I could see where that would be bothersome to her. I guess for Lily and Josh, it's just going to take some more time. I mean, some more time of them getting settled in together as a couple and starting to just move as a couple. And so we're going to have to just wait and see how that continues to unfold. So that leads us into our next couple. Lots to say here with Shekinah and Sarper. Lord knows they keep us talking, laughing, and sometimes just saying, "What?" What's your take on them, Big Nige?
Yeah, so episode 5 kind of kicks off with obviously they still have their issues they need to work out, but they go and have a little dinner with Sarper's cousin Busan. I think that's, yeah,
Yeah,
Busan. And it was kind of a lighthearted dinner up until a couple things started to happen. They started divulging into Sarper's past. He talked about a time in his life back in high school when he was around the age of 13 or 14. He was, in his opinion, very overweight. He was unhappy. He got picked on. I think there was a joke, something about being in a big leather jacket, but kind of like hiding your insecurities. So they
yeah,
called him like a trucker or something like that.
hmm,
So obviously, we get to see a little bit into his past. And then he had a girlfriend at the age of 15. And apparently, something happened and he caught his girlfriend basically cheating on him. And the advice he got from his father was to never trust women.
yeah.
So at that point, we can kind of see where Sarper's story took a little bit of a darker turn when it came to his outlook on women in general. It's kind of a best not to love him and leave him kind of
Oh
thing. So
yeah,
he took that to heart and he proceeded to drag a
clearly,
lot of women through the dirt, just kind of string them along just long enough, and then goodbye.
yeah.
So of course that had posed some more questions for Shekinah. Then that didn't help when, of course, the dancer lady comes up to the table and she already tells Sarper, like, hey, let her do her thing, but just don't pay her no mind.
Right.
And he goes and tips her, and now it's causing more problems because, like, you're being a little too friendly. You didn't need to do all that when I already told you not to do that.
Yep.
And he just dismissed her and saying it's fine, it's culture, etc., etc. So that leaves a bad taste at the dinner. And on top of that, when Shekinah was posing some questions that was coming up, about how people were reaching out to her after they had been posting on social
Mhm.
media that Sarper maybe isn't the guy that he portrays himself to be. As
Right.
soon as she brought that question up, Fusen shot that down immediately.
Yeah.
Don't listen to them. They're just jealous of what you guys have, etc., etc. And it again keeps breeding that seed of distrust. And she kind of said, now she's got even more questions, more than what she
Mhm.
came to dinner with, right? And so this prompts her to then have the meet and greet with his ex nurse, I believe, or no, Nor, excuse me.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about, you know, Shekinah thinking she was the first person that Sarper said, I love you to. Come
Right.
to find out, he said it to probably not only Nor, but other women.
Probably all. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now there's a conception out there that Sarper is a liar.
Hmm.
So with all of that, we still have more and more questions. Is Sarper who he portrays himself to be? Or is he just another playboy, just stringing Shekinah along, like his dad said in the past, to love him and leave him?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will say that I appreciated getting some of that background on Sarper. It definitely made some things make sense. It certainly doesn't excuse his behavior, but it certainly does let you see where at one point he didn't feel good about himself. And once he, got control of his weight, his body, it's very important to him. Kind of leans into his whole superficial thing as well, the feeling like his value is and how he looks. And then with the like you said, Big Nige, what his father's advice to him with women was and how that made his outlook on women to be, love them and leave them before they hurt you. So certainly I thought that gave him another layer of depth that he didn't have before. So I was like, okay, finally I'm starting to see Sarper as an actual human being, not a broke down Ken doll. So Shekinah, though, I think she's giving. she's giving, yeah, I'm picking up on these red flags, but I'm sincerely going to do nothing about it. I just, I don't know with them still. I think the jury's still out. I think that, like I said, I enjoyed what they did there with giving us some insight into the Sarper. Shekinah's either going to have to like learn to take him as he is. I don't know. I mean, y'all have to weigh in the comments and let me know what you think of Shekinah and Sarper. I am definitely on the fence. I don't think that she's got the wherewithal to really stand firm enough to or be patient enough to watch that man change to become a husband. It is not looking pretty to me. It does appear though that he does desire to try for her. So I mean, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Jury is still out. All right. Well, that's Shekinah and Sarper, guys. Again, put it in the comments what you guys are thinking about that couple and throw in there what you're thinking about Lily and Josh. What are your thoughts there? Is it miscommunication? Do you think it's something else? Weigh in. Let us know. Next couple that I wanted to talk about was Corona and Ingi. And they particularly, I felt we got a chance to see them interact more in these last few episodes and kind of figure out that Corona is really holding back, tempering herself, if you will. Yeah, ladies, you know how it is. You just don't want to see all your crazy just yet. You just kind of got to bottle it down a little bit till you figure out what you're dealing with. Big Nige, I'm going to kick it back to you, but I have my thoughts on Miss Corona and Mr. Ingi.
Yeah, so they started again in episode 5 where we got to finally see them together. You know, she's coming off a flight, he's there with flowers, and their embrace was not an embrace of it's been a while since we've seen each other. It's almost like he's under the impression that they just saw each other last week. So he's like, I miss you, little peck, and then that's it. And we get to see more of Ingi's character. He's a very carefree guy, go with the flow, not too high, not too low. Stays pretty even kill from that's kind of what I'm picking off from his energy as of yet. So then we get a little further in, and now because there was a promise between him and Corona that his closet would be, moved around so that she can put her stuff there. And we had the same thing with Shekinah and Sarper. Promises are just like promises are just like pie crust on this show, thin and easily broken. So apparently he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and that triggered her a little bit. We'll get into that in a little bit, but she decided to de-escalate and just like, oh, okay, he'll get it done, and we'll be good. So then the next day comes around, and I can't even pronounce the way, but it's Bun Day pretty much. Mm-hmm. He wakes her up in a little cute way, and it's a nice little embrace. And they go to get these nice little sweet treats and talk over a little brunch or whatever. And at that point, she starts kind of giving him the serious talk. Now, like, okay, enough is enough. I've kind of coddled you a little bit. I still plan on coddling you with the expectation that you're going to start taking me a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
And she talked about how she had passed her big test, and this big test was kind of make or break for him. And he's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. It's okay. And at some point, it just kind of starts rubbing not only obviously her, but the audience the wrong way. It's
the fact that
care?
Penn State is a big deal. Her nursing license, just like she said that out of all those thousands of people, 10 to 15 are the only ones that get in the program. I mean, massive deal. The fact that it's giving little boy. It's giving little boy. But I digress. Continue, Big Nige.
And it's almost like something's going to have to happen. Like she's probably going to have to blow up on him. Oh, yeah. I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to have to make this man click because we have yet to see him show any extra effort. Like nice gestures, sure, but effort to make her feel welcomed into into his bachelor pad. So we've honestly seen him put more effort into playing Magic with his friends than his
Yes.
actual, wife or
Yeah.
soon to be wife.
Right.
So it's very interesting. And I posed this question to you earlier, and it was just like, will Ingi come along and get, because like I said, they're coming into the relationship at two different spots. She's committed. She's like, I'm done, sacrificed a whole lot, and I'm here and I'm ready to take these next steps with you. And he's kind of just slowly in the beginning stages. Granted, it is his first relationship, but the level of commitment is completely in different spots for them. Will she be patient enough to watch Ingi grow into the man she knows he can be? And can Ingi look within himself to be the man that Corona fell in love with? Only time will tell.
That part, mic drop. I have nothing to add. Big Nige did that. So you guys heard it. I mean, Ingi and Corona, we're just going to have to stay tuned and see. I mean, y'all put it in the comments. What are your thoughts? I mean, he wrapped that right on up. So, like a nice little gift. You're welcome. So, we're going to move on from Ingi and Corona over to Dempsey and Statler. They, I said when we first started recapping this season of 90 Day the Other Way, Dempsey and Statler were one of my favorite couples because I enjoy Statler's dry wit and Dempsey's sweet carefreeness about her. But gosh, they're a little bit more complicated this season, and I'm here for it because again, it gives us some more depth, some more layers to them as a couple. Big Nige, what were your thoughts on Dempsey and Statler? I'm sorry, and because not Big Nige just giving us the deep dive, and I'm just kind of commenting tonight. So, what are your thoughts on Dempsey and Statler?
I think Statler brought a new light into her other side.
Yes.
We get to see the crabby, the super anxious, the just I don't want to be touched, I don't want to be bothered by nobody, and that's rightfully so. Coming off a 10-hour flight, plus more because you had an additional flight. That's not to say any layovers. How the travel accommodations were going. She just was not having a good time
No.
getting there, right? And this is fresh off the conversation she had with her best friend, putting the seeds of doubt. Does she really want to be with me? Am I just a money bag for her? Because I am the only source of income, and we've already understood that she's not okay with being the sole breadwinner,
Yeah.
but she's willing to, put that to the side to be with the woman she loves. That being said, you would have thought those two were just bickering siblings, the way
I know.
they greeted each other, and I'm just like, man, it's been 2 months since they've seen each other, and Statler's like, bruh, don't
Not
even talk
happening.
to me, man. And
Yeah.
Dempsey's giving her some attitude right back, like, yo, like I'm here,
Yep.
I'm here to embrace you, and this whole journey that we're about to embark, it's a good day, and you're
Yeah.
just poo-pooing everything, like what's up with that?
Right.
And they continue into the car ride to their eventual new home, that new van. Um, and of course, they're going back into it, and you know, Statler's talking about, you're happy. I don't control your happiness. Let me control my misery. I'm enjoying my misery just fine over here. And Dempsey's obviously trying to lighten her up, but
Yeah.
Statler's so closed off that none of that was happening at that point in time. They needed time to cool down, readjust, refocus on the bigger picture, which is their happiness together. They
Yes.
see the van, Statler's all her anxiety and all her doubts start slowly dissipating as they get into the van and see just how nice it looks. How I don't personally think it's that big, but again, I'm a bigger guy, so I like
Yeah.
having extra space. And
Yeah.
so for them, I'm sure it's perfectly fine. And if they're okay with it, I got no complaints.
Right.
Um, and so now we kind of see a happier ending for them toward episode 7, where they're shoveling off, and Dempsey's all excited and smile ear to ear.
She was.
And Statler finally gives in. She sees the moment, and she's like, "Okay, we're
Yeah.
good, we're fine." And this is exactly what they wanted. Now, will that mean there's not going to be some bumps and bruises on the
Oh yeah.
road? They're not
Yeah.
gonna hit some potholes on the way to their forever happiness, obviously, but we'll just see how they roll with the punches and continue to, progress in their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I concur. I thought, it was good to see Statler. Not so much I hated it for Dempsey because Dempsey was so excited and was wanting to see a happier, more excited Statler, but Statler was giving herself. And I think that was important because according to her friend and some of her past relationships, she's kind of leaned into what the other person wants and forgot about how she felt. So the fact that she was able to portray how she was feeling, how she wasn't all lovey-dovey, she was tired, and that's okay, and she was anxious, of course, rightfully so. And I think for Statler, she just didn't know how to picture what it was going to be like living in this van, like what the space was going to look like, what it was going to, feel like being in it. And so maybe she's the kind of person, kind of like I am. I got to kind of get in there before I fully make my mind up. So a whole lot of unknowns causes a lot of anxiety with this girl too. So I get it, Statler. But I thought the most endearing moment was when you see Statler starting to soften up, like Big Nige says, and she kind of gives Dempsey the look like, I can do this. This I can do. This is more space than I thought. This is okay. And then you kind of see her let her guard down, and Dempsey just said, I'm excited about 10 times in the episode. So I'm here for it. Like I said, so far, they're my faves. I think it's cool to watch them start their adventure. I think we're definitely going to see some potholes, some big ones. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Guys, let me know what you're thinking. Put in the comments. What do you think about Statler and Dempsey starting off on this new adventure together? What's your predictions? Do you think, like Big Nige says, it's going to be potholes and some detours off of that road to forever happy? Or, or do you think, they're just going to be two little peas in a pod in their little live-in van? Yeah. Let me know what you're thinking. So that's kind of where we left Dempsey and Statler. We got introduced to a new couple, Big Nige, Joanne and Sean. I had some thoughts because I knew they were on the lineup, but with all of the promotion and, the things that were out about the new season, they were kind of left off of some of that. And I guess I see why, just kind of coming on in toward the end of the season, which I don't know. I think I'm not sure how many more episodes we have left to go, but we're at 7. So, I mean, they're coming in late in the game. Gosh, so much to unpack with this one. Maybe we should have left them for last, but no, I think I really want to end it with James and Tata because Lord have mercy. So let's get into it. Joanne and Sean, Big Nige. What are your thoughts there?
So we get introduced to Sean. We see the athletic kind of lifestyle he lives. Definitely a guy in the gym. Kind of gives off kind of like a young, maybe young uncle kind of vibe. Like the cool uncle. And clearly he's very active and very fit. He opens up talking about his kind of woman and all that stuff. So we kind of see there's a little immaturity there.
Yeah.
But we know he's a father of a little girl.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a very touching moment that they brought up. And they talked about how he might look a certain way, but he's a very sweet guy, according to how Joanne describes him. Not too much to really unpack with him per se, although they have the big elephant in the room, which I'll touch on in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get to Joanne, from New York, got that strong New York accent, which all too well.
No, all too well.
But we see she's a mother of 2, an 18-year-old son, which he was probably the more vocal one out of the 2 so far in the season. Yeah. And clearly he just wants his mother's happiness, but at the same time, he wants to make sure that she's treated well. And he does not seem like he's going to stand for anything, nothing less than Sean's best. So we will see how that goes.
Right.
But on top of how we don't, because again, they've spoken on the phone, but never have met face to face with Sean. So it's interesting to see how that's going to play out. But the elephant in the room is nobody knows that Sean and Joanne are married.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pose you a question to this. What advice could you give to Joanne and Sean on just not even waiting, but just how do you break that news? Like, what would you tell them on how to break that news to their friends and family?
Well, first of all, if it were me, and it's not, I wouldn't have made any kind of decision like that before sitting my children down and discussing that off the top. Children and parents, but specifically my children. I mean, that's crazy. But what is done is done, and so at this point, it would be let's just rip the band-aid off, and I'm just gonna tell you, I found the guy that is the one, and I made a decision that I felt in the moment was the best thing for me. I didn't know how to tell you, but this is what it is. And here we are now, you know, at this point, she's supposed to be coming to Ireland, but she feels like if the boys aren't with it, she's not with it, which makes no sense. You're already married. And not even married for 2 years. And I'm just like, wow. I mean, me personally, I couldn't have kept that from my family that long. So that says a lot about Joanne, child. I don't know, because I heard some little scuttle out in the social media world that perhaps Joanne was keeping this to herself because of her ex and her alimony.
Mm.
Child, I don't know. Because there is a thing, if you remarry, alimony dries on up. So that's something I heard in these social media streets, but it's not been determined. That's allegedly. And no, I would, at this point, I couldn't take it anymore. I would have to sit everybody down and just be like, look, this is what it is. He's a great guy. You're going to love him. But the reality is he's my husband. And my bad for not telling you sooner. I just don't know how else to say it because it couldn't be me. I can't keep a secret that long.
And to wrap it up with them, they do have a brief discussion toward the end, where they are kind of seeing, like, Joanne poses the question to Sean, how are we going to tell them? Referring to, like, obviously their families and whatnot. And Sean jokes and says, I'll be in the bathroom while you tell everybody. And they laugh it off, but
Yeah,
he's just saying we just need to give them the truth.
that's
And this
it.
kind of seems like the first guy on the show who kind of is keeping it real with himself and not putting up a facade and saying, "Oh, we'll tell them later," like James would. He'd put it off till the cows come home.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
cowardly.
Josh would have a hard way of describing it. He would probably not put it in the proper words, so it might not even come out right.
That
You
part.
know, so I mean, and we're not even going to touch on Sarper because good he wouldn't say nothing anyway. So
Sarper or Ingi. I mean, Ingi wouldn't even,
yeah,
I mean,
Ingi, Sarper, yeah, both of
yeah,
those, the maturity level just isn't
it's
there
not
to
there.
make a big
Yeah,
announcement like that,
no.
let alone keep a secret. So
Right.
Sean and Joanne got their work cut out for them. A lot more to unpack with them in the coming episodes for sure. But it's just a big wild card, man. If that family, especially, their moms, especially Joanne's mom, we saw in the
Ooh,
preview a
you
little
saw
bit
that
where she's already coming to blows with her. It's like, how could you
coming,
not tell your own mother? So there's going to be
right?
more to unpack with that couple.
Hmm.
And I'll be definitely staying tuned for that, as should y'all.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and let us know in the comments what you're thinking about Joanne and Sean. Child, listen, it couldn't be me. Let me know. Could it be you? How would you go about it? Could you keep a secret like that for 2 years? And would you make a decision like that without running it by your children? Not I. Anywho, we're just going to stay tuned and see just how that develops. And now that brings us to our last couple, James and Tata. Child, listen. Been waiting to get to this one, honey. I need to know, what are your thoughts, Big Nige? Because I surely have mine. Let's hear it.
Whew, there's a lot to unpack there.
Lots.
Okay. So obviously James is just getting to Indonesia, and they have a nice little warm embrace and all that fun stuff. Then we get to see Tata's parents' house.
Yeah,
And just like James said, it kind of looks like the White House. I was kind of surprised just how big it was,
it was.
and just how the fathers continue to build in it and make all these modifications to it. Hey man,
Who knew? right?
I was shocked,
Yeah.
completely shocked.
Yeah.
And we get to see kind of how her parents live, and we get to see the banana chip, making process. And we even get to see James participate in that, and it was a nice wholesome moment as a family.
It
And
was.
it kind of thought that you wish it ended like that, but we could already see some seeds of discomfort brewing when they're going and looking in the clothes section. James and Tata, after they leave the hotel, and they're talking, so when should we tell my parents, as Tata said to James, about us moving and staying here.
Hmm.
And typical James fashion, are we sure we ready to have that conversation? Maybe we should wait a few days. I'm kind of tired. James likes to duck and dodge a lot of these
Yeah, he
difficult
does.
conversations in his life. So it does not surprise me that he wanted to wait. But
Mm-mm.
Tata was like, "No, we're gonna tell them today. There's no point in waiting." And I agree with her. There's absolutely no point in waiting that long. And
Absolutely
to
not.
to be quite frank, she should have already told them. It should have been something that they said before they even made plans to go over there.
Absolutely.
Like,
These
so
people
again,
slay me. Yes.
the disappointment that happens with a lot of these couples in the show is when expectations don't meet reality. And these people are not making any plans to make their expectations a reality. And it just
Nope.
shows. So as we continue on with their relationship, and you know, it's hard because now we get to that whole dinner scene and we see Tata ball her eyes out. And a little background on what happened was basically James started posing the question, and he was speaking to Tata to translate to her parents.
Yeah.
How lucrative is this business of banana chip making? Can we pay our $700, um, you know, U.S. bills, it's like car payment and some other stuff,
Hmm.
back home and still live comfortably here? With the banana chip business.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why it was conveyed like why would you tell them the loan amount? Because I think the loan amount was about $15,000.
Hmm.
And then that's how she kind of conveyed that to her parents. But on top of that, he's she had already mentioned, her father had mentioned that a loan basically meant the bank owned you.
Oh yeah.
And that's where the
That's it.
big point of contention was with James and Tata and their parents is we don't like the idea of a loan. But again, there was some miscommunication. We're not sure exactly what went awry in that moment. But then it went to James getting frustrated that their dad was talking about we don't like loans. We're gonna come up with a plan to solve your problem.
Yeah.
And then
But you
that
can't
made
keep
Tata
loaning ever
frustrated.
again. Hmm.
Yeah, and that made Tata frustrated. Just like they're trying to communicate that we're not coming here to bring you more trouble and more burden, that which led to her crying. And of course James was saying, hey, you need to step in and do something here. I'm talking through you. What's your opinion on this? Can
Yeah.
you help me out a little bit here? Maybe he could have said it in a nicer way, and maybe you know she could have taken it a little softer and kind of spoke up. But
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, it did not happen like that. She got overwhelmed. She felt like she was letting her parents down. She felt like she was letting her husband down. So she just bawled. And the kicker that I want to leave you with before the all the waterworks came through was when her father said that we expect you guys, in terms of coming up with a plan and having everything ready to go, we want you to have that kind of foundation for your children. Once
Yes.
that was said, all the waterworks came through.
Yes.
She could not hold her tears, which led to, basically her father saying, you're upsetting your mother, and you have to kiss her feet, and basically apologize, ask for forgiveness. So a lot to unpack there. Obviously, James had no idea what was going on. He didn't
No.
understand
It kind of just
anything that was
spiraled.
said. So that's where that couple ended off in that episode, especially in episode 7. So there's a lot to unpack here, man. There's so much stuff happened in such a short amount of time.
I concur. And yeah, I mean, same thing. How Tata started to just break out and start crying. And, I think we mentioned, okay, we got Big Nige back. Welcome back, Big Nige.
Sorry about that. I
I'm
don't
not
know
sure
what
what
happened.
happened there. Yeah, technology at its finest. Um, but honestly, I think for me, what it was, I think number one, James felt like he was left out to just, be the bad guy. When they were, what he was trying to do was basically get her to say, look, I'm trying to figure out, is this banana chip business going to be able to sustain us? We also have the debt in the U.S. Can you tell him, what does he think? He wanted his thoughts, but he wanted it to be more of a united front. Them as a couple kind of coming to her parents saying, look, we're going to move here. We're going to help you with the banana chip business, which her dad seemed to be extremely happy about. But just like she had said before, James is not going to like being told what to do. And when the dad said, we got you, we're going to pay this loan for you, but you cannot take out another loan. We don't believe in it. The bank owns you when you take out loans. And he was like, no, tell them that there may be a reason to do it again. Sometimes you have to. I felt like Tata felt like she was put in the middle. But what really irritated me was, look, James is here because you wanted to come back to Indonesia. So you need to throw him a lifeline here. You can't have all of the hard stuff coming from James and you looking like you're the good little daughter that's just trying to make everybody happy. This was your idea, ma'am. So you're going to need to not only translate, but you're going to need to participate. And I feel like she just wanted to be, little baby of the family. And, her go-to is Waterworks. I think she just did not, when it started to get hard, when the dad was saying one thing and she could feel James kind of getting a little concerned, I won't say heated, but frustrated. She just didn't have it. She had nothing for either side. She just fell apart. And that, out of all of our couples tonight, to me, will go down as the red flag award. Because James cannot make a life in Indonesia with Tata acting like that. It's not going to work. I mean, he doesn't speak the language well. He's going to have to rely on her parents. And he's going to have to trust that his wife is going to have his best interest at heart too. I mean, she's their daughter, but she's his wife too. And y'all, she really left him hanging. I mean, I'm not a huge James fan. I don't like his wishy-washiness, his lack of sincerity, or I won't say sincerity, but his inability to be honest, because it's cowardly to me, the way he moves. But I felt bad for him in that episode. Tata left him out just looking crazy. And he was like, what is going on here? And even when she erupted in the tears and the kissing of the feet, he was just like, what is happening? What is really happening? He wasn't by himself, because I was like, wow. So, yes, I think what we should start doing on our recaps is doing the red flag award for the episode goes to none other than Tata. Yes, Tata, yes. You earned it. You did that, sis. So, guys, that's pretty much the episode that gets us caught up to episode 7, and we'll be back next week on Wednesday to talk about episode 8. Some quick things I want to announce that I do have an interview dropping on Friday with Miss Monica Love, co-author of the book, Design Your Wealth Mindset. She has a ton of great tips for everybody. Particularly, we're talking to the ladies. So ladies, tune in to get those tips on preparing for retirement, home ownership, getting your business savvy on. She's got so many gems. You really are not going to want to miss this. It will air on Friday at 6 p.m. So please tune in. And we'll be back next week, like I said, on Wednesday. This is our 90-day Fiance the Other Way recap night. And before that, Monday, I'll be doing my Bravo Monday. So you guys are not going to miss that. It's Orange County all the way, baby. All things Bravo on Mondays. So thank you guys for tuning in. Big Nige, as always, it's a pleasure. Go ahead and do a plug on the GoatCast podcast for everybody.
Absolutely. Again, so definitely appreciate being on the channel. The GoatCast podcast is obviously a channel where me and my co-host CW, talk about basketball topics, past, present, and future. Just finished up talking about the Olympics, so definitely go check us out. We did hit our 100 subscriber goal, so if any of you were any of the fans that made it happen, we definitely appreciate. And if you want to add to our continued success and our continued goal, I greatly appreciate it. But outside of that, just stay tuned to obviously this channel, Alleged Actually Podcast, and give me a look out on the GoatCast podcast. I really appreciate you.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. That's all we have for you. Thanks again for tuning in. And like he said, when you can, get on over there to GoCast Podcast for all things NBA, WNBA, and basketball all together. So thank you, guys. Wishing you a great night. Come on back next week. Oh, no, come on back Friday. What am I talking about? Come on back Friday and get that good interview. And we'll see you next week for 90 Day. Good night, guys.